Alright, hello everyone, and welcome back to another Limbus Company video. Today we're going to be playing with both of the new Dawn Office identities. Normally I would solo with each of them individually and make two separate videos, but honestly, these two identities are ridiculously similar to the point where if I did that, I'd honestly be repeating myself a lot of the time when just discussing what they do, so I decided it's probably better to just put them both together so I can have an easier time describing what they actually do. So what makes them so similar in the first place? Well, basically it's the fact that they are both charge identities that aren't actually charge identities. They have their own unique status effect. For Faust, it's her butterfly case status effect. This one, the fire butterfly coffin, and then Gregor, it's the light of daybreak. They gain them both basically the same. For Faust herself, it literally says in her skill description that each of her skills gives her some of the butterfly coffin, but for Gregor, it says it in his status effect. And Gregor gains a small amount every time he attacks, depending on the enemy's burn count. So, and most importantly is that he also gains a little bit 5 for his counter skill. Both of his counter skills, both his regular counter skill and his assist defense, he gains 5. So, effectively, if an enemy doesn't have any burn, it's best to start with his counter skill, since he can gain up to 10 with that. And early on in a fight, his regular skills likely won't be able to reach that same level. Also, as you can see right here, both Gregor and Faust have the ability to convert their counter skill into their skill 3 when they have the max stack of their unique charge. And they also have the ability to follow up with a skill 1 of their own whenever one of the other Dawn Office identities either staggers an enemy or hits an enemy with their skill 3. And that's basically it in regards to how they are similar. They play the same, and their gimmicks are almost identical. Where they begin to separate, however, is actually within their skill 3 itself. And this is because just their skill 3s function slightly differently. For Gregor, his skill 3 is a skill that has natural attack weight, so it hits lots of enemies. It has less coins as well, because Faust has the ability to reuse coins on her skill 3 use. And Gregor's skill 3 also applies the Herald of Dawn status effect, which helps to buff the damage of any burn identity. The real distinction, though, between each of their skill 3s is that Gregor actually does consume charge with his skill 3, whereas Faust, she doesn't actually consume any charge with her regular skill 3. She only actually ends up consuming it if you use it through her counter skill. And this is an important distinction. This is an important distinction because it means that Faust has the ability to use multiple skill 3s in a row, basically. She can use her regular skill 3 first, and that gives her the overheated coffin status effect, which kind of is only really relevant right here, because it prevents her from using another skill 3 through her counter skill, and that's kind of all it does. It does give her a little bit of extra burn as well, but it's mostly there just to prevent her from using the extra skill 3 through her counter skill if she has an extra skill slot. Faust also gains the battle instinct status effect, which serves as just something that gives her a little bit of extra damage and speed and stuff like that. They also both end up healing when they consume their charge, so they're very versatile. Very versatile, very strong, have lots of attacks. And all around, they're just good identities. Another thing that I forgot to mention is that each of them, they gain extra coins on their skill 1 and skill 2, depending on how much of their unique charge they actually have. So the more charge they have, the better they will be performing. But the difference between how they gain their extra coins is that Gregor literally gains an extra coin, so he can actually take advantage of it in a clash, whereas for Faust, it's only on the attack when she actually gets it. There are a few other, like, very minor effects that they get, like Gregor applies protection with his skill 3, and he also applies the Dawn Office status effect, which gives all of the Dawn Office identities extra offense level, and also sanity healing if they're all present on the field. But those are more like minor effects that just don't really affect how they play very much, so not really worth mentioning too much. Still good to know that they are there, but ultimately, if it's not mentioned, or if I forgot to mention it, it's probably irrelevant enough that it doesn't really matter. Oh yes, I also completely forgot they are also tremor identities. It's very easy to forget about that, considering they are capable of triggering burn with their skill 3. Like, there's no reason for them to actually be tremor identities. They don't need to be tremor. The only reason they are is because Tremor Scorch is kind of the only thing that's really keeping burn relevant in recent days. And so every burn identity has been a tremor burn identity.
취약한 마음과 자아일수록 누군가가 만든 자아의 껍데기 속에 의존하고 숨고 싶은 법이라지만 그럼에도 재밌는.
They also gain burn on themselves, which is relevant because they need burn on themselves in order to actually get the healing from their skill 3s. Because it's how much they heal is dependent on how much burn is on themselves. And they get that from their unique charge status effect, so there's that. This run will be pretty easy, all things considered, because they are very powerful identities. Like, the sheer amount of extra skills that they get every turn, it is wild how strong they are. Let's do this one. Doesn't really matter what floor we take on floor 2. There's nothing really that important, so just take ones that give you a tier 3 ego gift or something. Lithograph is nice.
다시 교체되는 것처럼.
See if we can get anything good here.
나만의 지옥이.
One extra clash power. Not really that necessary, but it's fine, I guess. Extra skill 3. Polarization. That's a good one. And upgrade that, I guess. Why not? Here we go. I think this is the Gossypium? Yes, it is.
느껴졌어? 내가 너희를 위해서 주문을 외웠는데
Gossypium is
잘 걸린 것 같아.
somewhat difficult.
싸워보는 거야?
Just because of the amount of bleed he can inflict, but with 2 identities and an assist defense through Gregor, shouldn't be that difficult. Because we can avoid most of the bleed damage. Like, the reason why the Gossypium is so difficult to beat solo is because he just inflicts so much bleed damage.
나만 믿고 다
And unclashable damage as well, because he's got a lot of unclashable skills. That it's just... It becomes difficult to maintain your health. But then again, he also comes in with his own anti-stagger effect, so... The real reason he's so difficult is it's just the health drain. That and the fact that he has one skill that's particularly strong that can be very, very dangerous if you do have bleed on you. But yeah, you just add a second person, and it's not really that big of a deal like this one, Flourishing Gossypium. It just rolls really high. But as long as you don't have a bleed stack, it doesn't really do anything, because you can clash against it very easily.
칼날 사출.
It also helps that we do have slash damage, which the Gossypium is weak to, so yeah, we just stagger it.
그간의 전투 경험이 역시 우리 사무소의 자랑이야. 적합한 조치였습니다.
부위 하나가
Pretty easy.
힘껏 찔러놓고
이제 좀
웃겨놨지만
The Gossypium is only really difficult solo, like I said, especially if you do have an assist defense on one of your characters.
부서지고
Like that's definitely one of the reasons why I'm definitely wanted to
이 얼마나 완벽하게 그지없는
play with
나만의
both of the new Dawn Office identities instead of just soloing with them, because a lot of their mechanics are actually dependent on being in a team together. Since Gregor has, you know, he's got his assist defense, and then they both have combo attacks with the other Dawn Office identities. This floor, though, it's going to be difficult.
개체가 기세등등해 보여요. 조금 주의하면서
These guys have a very similar issue where they just inflict a lot of bleed damage. But more importantly, the reason why these guys are so difficult is because if you let them, if you hit them when they use their defense skill, then the next turn after they like to follow up with their lust skill, and that skill hits really hard. This one.
기운이 솟는다, 단테.
It's a very scary skill, and if they have 2 of the automated Mayo myofiber activity, then they get all unbreakable coins. And it's very, very scary. So the best strategy is just don't clash against them when, or don't even attack them when they are using their defense skill, because it's attacking them that gives them the status effect in the first place. Or I should say, it gives them enough of the status effect where they end up getting all unbreakable coins.
여기다가 말하면 녹음되는 건가요?
You do either need enough damage to just stagger them, when they do use their lust skill, or you just don't clash against them when they use the... You don't attack them when they use the defense skill.
방금 어떻게 하신 거죠? 깜짝 놀랐어요.
여명이 찾아오겠지.
대성공이야. 칼은 신나.
Thankfully, even if that does become a problem, like right here, this guy's gonna get all unbreakable coins. He's gonna get staggered anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But even if it was an issue, both Gregor and Faust have self-healing in their kit with their when they do end up spending their charge. So any little small amounts of chip damage that's done through unbreakable coins or bleed damage, it's almost negligible, really.
훌륭하구나. 실력을 잘 이용하지 못하셨을 뿐. 방금 전에는 굉장했다고. 베르겔 그 인간도 이건 인정할걸?
I mean, it really does just go to show how strong these guys are, where they can beat this fight without much trouble. Like, this is a very difficult fight, let me tell you. Even with only 2 identities. Like, solo, it's really hard, but even with only 2 identities, it's still pretty difficult. And they're beating it no problem.
여명이 찾아오겠지.
이것 봐. 환상체를 제압하는 건 우리만으로 충분하잖아. 칼날 사출.
Definitely the most awkward thing about using them, though, is specifically Gregor, because, like I said, since Faust doesn't actually consume any of her charge when using her skill 3, she always maintains her max level of damage all the time. As long as you don't use her counter skill, that is. But Gregor does not get that luxury, so yeah, he ends up losing a lot of DPS the turns after he uses his skill 3, which is a little unfortunate, but at the very least it's not that difficult for him to build it back up again.
언젠가 다시 재생하겠지. 내가 부서지고 파괴되어도 다시 교체.
And we get the ornamental horseshoe, very nice.
이 얼마나 완벽하게 그지.
Good for keeping poise alive on multiple characters. And the Midwinter Nightmare. Nice sinking damage, very cool. And could fight this guy, but I don't want to. Emerald Elytra, very cool. Lobotomy pack would be very nice, but We don't really need healing here, I don't think. Can fuse a slash ego gift though. Sundered memory. Nice. And now for the boss. Who is this boss? I forget which ones are on this floor. Can I tell somehow? I want to say shock centipede.
그럼 입장해 보지.
I am correct. Shock centipede is a hard one. I'm not gonna lie. He's a hard one to guess. Just because his defenses are kind of weird. Like, I don't imagine this guy being a sloth and weak, you know what I mean? But he is.
여명의 빛과 같이.
In any case, the way these guys play, with how they do a lot of combo attacks with one another. You know, like them always following up after every one of them uses their skill 3, for example. Like this with Faust. And then with Gregor with his assist defense.
이런 건 고참이 아는 거야.
It makes me dream about what a good Liu faction identity could be. Like an actual good Liu leader identity, because let's be honest, Liu Rodia, she's not really a leader type. At least not with the current state of the game. And so I was thinking, like yesterday, about what would make for a cool Liu Association faction leader identity. And I think the coolest thing they could do is take a page out of Lord Honglu's book, where they do a combo attack with all of the other Liu identities. Except it's not like Lord Honglu, where he does a combo attack with only one of them, but it's a combo attack where they do it with all of them simultaneously at the same time. So imagine like, you know, Lord Honglu's combo attack himself. But instead of it only triggering with one of the Liu identities, it would be all of them at once. And effectively, the skill would gain extra coins depending on how many Liu identities you have in the team. I think that would be the coolest thing they could do for the Liu Association, honestly. Unfortunately, for the Shock Centipede here, he's very awkward when you have clashable counters. Because you want to use defense skills against him in this state, but unfortunately, if you clash against him, it doesn't get he doesn't lose extra of his own self charge. So using an identity that has a clashable counter or clashable guard, it's very awkward against the Shock Centipede, because he just takes longer to kill for seemingly no reason. All because it right there, attack end, if it was an unopposed attack, lose 1 self charge. But he doesn't get that. That never triggers when you have clashable counters or clashable guards, because it's impossible to to have it be unopposed. I guess technically it could be unopposed if we also use unopposed attacks against the shock centipede himself, but ultimately we'd still be wasting the same amount of time because we'd have to sit through the animations of Gregor and Faust attacking the centipede regardless, so pick your poison, I suppose.
있는 힘껏 찔러놓고 으깨놨지만 저것들은 언젠가 다시 재생하겠지. 내가 부서지고 파괴되어도 다시 교체되는 것처럼.
And we get the thermal weapon, which is pretty cool.
나만의 지옥인가?
And charred disc does something. And for the next floor, let's see. Definitely this one. Gotta take this floor. Every time. And we even get the Knight's Blessing, which is probably better put to use for Faust currently, because I think she's fatal to pride, or not pride, pierce damage. Yes, she is. So it'd be better to give her the
파우스트가 나서겠습니다.
Knight's Blessing right now, just so the Knight does less damage to her. But then again, it's like
심상치 않은 게 온다.
Gregor's counter skill is good enough for now. Like, Gregor's the one taking the damage here, not Faust. So I don't know.
이런 건 고참이 하는 거야.
Hi, Queenie. Good to see you.
승객들, 뭔가 기분 좋은 일이라도 있었던 거야?
I think we can stagger the Knight here. Maybe. It's definitely somewhat awkward because I can't use the clashable counter here with Gregor unless I want to overwrite his skill 3, which I don't want to do. So I guess we'll just let Faust take a hit here. Why not? We either stagger the Knight this turn, or Gregor takes a hit because he can't win a clash. Cool. And the Queen staggers the Knight for us, which is definitely a little unfortunate, I'll say the least.
칼날 사출. 개체에게 큰 피해를 준 것 같아.
Fortunately, it's not that bad as long as Gregor keeps winning clashes from this point forward.
이런 건 고참이 하는 거야.
It really does suck that the clashable counters don't scale like at all in the mirror dungeon. Like that's the big problem right now that we're seeing with Gregor. It just doesn't get any extra clash power, even though it probably should, honestly.
이제 정말 개체의 제압까지 얼마 남지 않았어. 전보다도 푸른
We do get attack weight here, but unfortunately the attack weight doesn't really matter because it's going to be targeting the wrong sword. And Faust's attack weight is unreliable because it's unfocused volley.
전부 펼쳐낸 나비처럼.
She got one good attack off into the correct sword there, but not enough to break it.
역시 우리 사무소의 자랑이야.
You know, something I definitely need to work on when using these identities is
여명이 찾아오겠지.
to realize when they are going to be performing a combo attack, because it is pretty important to know that, since the combo attack, specifically for Gregor, it is a little bit relevant for Faust, but more relevant for Gregor. When he does do the combo attack, he gets even more of his unique charge. And that's important because if you know when he's going to do it, then you can more easily and more reliably pick and choose when exactly is the correct time. Or I should say the correct order of skills, so you can optimize the amount of charge he actually gains from it.
대성공이야.
Because that previous turn there,
노래 부를까?
I could have used the skill 1 after his skill 3, and that would have given him a little bit of extra of his charge on this turn. It might not have been enough to actually get him to be able to use another skill 3 on this turn, but there's nothing saying that it wouldn't have been able to. I think it would have been one short, honestly, because the skill 1 can only give him up to 9. And he can only gain 20 per turn, so I think he would be sitting at 29 currently if I did, so it doesn't really matter that much. Let's hope Gregor doesn't kill the knight here. There's a chance he does. But with a missed coin, I doubt it.
여명이 찾아오겠지.
승객이 마저 태양을 먹였어.
Faust does do a follow-up, though.
이기는
Nice.
편, 우리 편.
The knight barely survived that turn. Which means Queenie gets the finishing blow, like she deserves.
당신 그래도 자, 최대한 찾고 있었구나. 오늘도 정말 멋진 활약이었어.
Nothing really good here.
오늘도 지금처럼 조용하려나?
And for the final floor, what do we want to do? Good question. Good question. Let's do line 3. Or line 4, section 3. Been a while since I've taken this floor, and it is somewhat difficult. I believe the Dawn office can handle it, though. Well, if the entire Dawn office was here, they absolutely could handle it, but even just these two, I think they should be able to handle it. Let's see what we can get. Decamillennial Hearthflame, very nice. Greycoat, less useful. Still good, but it's not that good, honestly. Like, it only really benefits Gregor's enhanced skill 3, which isn't doing a whole lot because it just... it's already healing, you know? And so doubling up on that healing is kind of irrelevant and pointless. That should probably be good enough, honestly. I should probably have Gregor be slot number 1. Just because his defense skill is better. But in any case, yeah, these guys, they're not really doing too much. All things considered. Gonna be fairly easy, I think. Heathcliff is the most threatening, but only if he rolls max speed. And then also uses his skill 3. But fortunately, he didn't roll max speed, so he didn't get a lot of extra coin power on that. Okay, what's the skill that Gregor can reliably beat in a clash? Basically, nothing. You are fatal to wrath damage, so that's a good one. And then attack Heathcliff again. Impressive that Gregor is actually managing to win clashes here with his counter skill. Pretty unreliable, all things considered. Like if the Pecatolum just roll a little bit better with their coin rolls, Gregor can't win a clash. So definitely, we've definitely gotten a lot. Very lucky, I'll say that much. Unfortunately, Gregor clashed incorrectly there, but can't really do anything about that. I needed to use the skill 3 to clash against that ego skill, otherwise it definitely would have gone through. Best part about Hong Lu is that, yeah, we can just ignore him. He literally burns out the next turn. 99 burn potency, 1 count. And then he's doing damage to everybody else, so very cool. Thank you, Hong Lu.
주변을 휩쓰는 공격은 역시 필살기에
전부
걸맞지?
펼쳐낸
멋졌어.
나비처럼.
나도 저럴 땐 멋져 보이려나? 방금 멋졌어.
역시 우리 사무소의
너희들의
자.
실력을 잘 이용하지
비와
못하셨을
닮아서
뿐.
저 어둡고 악한 아르카나들을 뒤흔들었어. 이대로면 승리도 시간 문제겠지?
Very nice. Very easy fight, all things considered. Just gotta get the proper clashing going here.
여명의 빛과
Make sure we can actually kill everybody.
나쁘진 않았습니다.
그래. 역시 우리 사무소의 이렇게도 허약해서야.
실력을 잘 이용하지 못하셨을 뿐.
방금 어떻게 하신 거죠? 깜짝 놀랐어요. 있잖아.
And the dreaming electric sheep.
항상 유령만에 시달리거든. 너희만
A fight that is so easy
우리를 도와서
that it's not even really worth talking about.
아니야. 그건 선택의 순간이 필요하니까.
We're genuinely gonna stagger him before he does anything. Well, maybe. It depends on if Gregor actually... Yeah, there he goes. We actually managed to stagger the sheep before he could do anything.
하지만 여기서 방심하면 안
칼날
돼.
사출.
지휘팀이라면 완벽하고 빈틈없이 모든 걸 끝마쳐야 하지 않겠어?
전부 펼쳐낸 나비처럼.
그 부위가
역시 우리 사무소의 자랑이야.
걸 알고 나섰나, 파우스트 씨.
이렇게들 허약해서야.
그래. 이 정도면
순조롭게 끝났군요. 꽤 고생할 것이라고 생각했습니다만 여러분들이 파우스트가 생각했던 것보다 유능했던 덕도 있겠군요. 츠바이의 책도 이번에 회수하도록 할까요?
And that's how I beat Mirror Dungeon 7 hard using only the new Dawn Office identities. They are very powerful, very synergistic with one another, which makes them very fun to play, honestly. If you add Sinclair in there as well, they just get even more combo attacks, and yeah, it's like they become really, really unstoppable, honestly. Them as a trio, very, very powerful. Very few enemies can hope to stand up to them. Anyways, that's it for me. Like and subscribe for more videos like this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.